So what would you say to people who are saying that what you're proposing in terms of these small, non-scalable, really inefficient, and I love the mental image of a very efficient, scalable Thanksgiving assembly line. Nobody talks. There's no drama.
Get them in and out and fast. You brag about
Yeah,
how many people you fed in an hour. Sure.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, what would you say to those people that say, what you're proposing is incompatible with the model that we have for entertainment or dissemination of information or the big industry of people and, kind of moving them through the process? What would you say to them?
Well, nobody wants to change unless they perceive they have pain. Otherwise, why change? If they want to talk to someone like me because they see there's a growth that they want to make, then we need to ask very clearly, well, what are your goals? And I was really moved when General McChrystal in his book, Team of Teams, just called it out right. And he said, I'm summarizing on it. They didn't get the relationships that allow resilience and adaptability in a world that's changing quickly is fundamentally inefficient. You're going to need to take people away from jobs they're trained to do and good at and put them somewhere else where they're not doing that job. And it looks like they're doing nothing. Their time is being wasted because they're forging the relationships that you need when the world changes and you have to adapt. And it's not an accident that I've noticed the organizations that reach out to me are education, healthcare, military, both active duty and veteran, and then very cutting edge, high impact tech. And the reason is the cost for when their teams fail is death. And they are not okay with that. They need to be more resilient and adaptable in a world that's changing this fast than someone who just complains because they lost something. So if the question is, why would someone want to do this if it's incompatible? The question, well, what's at stake? And is it high enough for you to accept the inefficiency to get that? Now, I would say if you're running a ministry and you look at the suicide ideation rates of young people and the suicide ideation of LGBT people and transgender, and that horrifies you, then it's time to get more inefficient because you already know, John, you personally know how many efficient events you want to go to forge friendships that'll be there in your worst days or that of your family. And let me be clear what I say about efficient. Throughput, big tables, how quickly we can clean dishes. I mean, John, where you really want to go is you want to sit probably on a log, probably around a fire with no more than 4 other people that you already understand share some kind of value that you're working on in your life. Maybe eating a hot dog or the equivalent of hot dogs that was not made industrial kitchen, and they're not worried about pushing them out quickly. Am I wrong about that?
No, that sounds like a dream.
That's
That
right.
sounds
And that's an
amazing.
incredibly inefficient event, but not impossible. And it costs parking reservations and hot dogs.
How would you adapt that to ministry? We work with, hundreds of congregations in the state of Indiana and abroad that, is the scope and audience for this podcast, international in some cases. How would you adapt that message specifically to those in ministry or maybe young adult ministry or, all the different ministries? Is it a one-for-one translation or is there anything you would say maybe is modifiable or technology you can package and represent in those those
Yeah.
domains?
So knowing that I don't know about those ministries enough to make prescriptions, what I would want those ministerial leaders to think about is to think fun and think small. One of the reasons, John, you're a little bit excited about sitting with 4 other people eating charred hot dogs around a campfire, that sounds fun to you, right? And oh my God, how much would you love sitting down with 4 other people who want to talk to you, not distracted by a screen? So think fun, think small, and get the screen to the damn room. When I have events, we have a device called a phone basket, and I ritualize the event. I don't say, give me your phone. If you don't give me your phone, you're a terrible person and you're ruining it for everybody. I say, John, I'm hosting. I go first. I'm inviting you to join me. I just want you to know by doing this, we're voting with our hands to be with the people in the room and not the people outside the room. And then we literally walk the basket outside the room ritually, so it has meaning. And we leave in a different room, so if someone has to leave quickly, they know where to get it. But we cannot neither hear nor see the phones. And as you can imagine, John, it radically changes the space. And my guess is there is an amount of money in your wallet that you would spend to sit down for a 2-hour meal with 4 other adults, knowing there's going to be no device distracting them for 2 hours, and they've chosen to spend that space. You're nodding. I don't know if anybody can hear that.
I am, yes. Yes.
But notice how you're longing for that. Can you imagine being 15 years old? How many hours this year do you think a 15-year-old is going to spend with 4 other people who have voted with their hands to ensure they're not going to be distracted for an extended meal simply so they can build a friendship? How many hours do you think they're going to get this year? I don't know the answer, but here's what's on my mind. Can ministerial leaders provide more? I think that's how Jesus did it. If I try to remember, did Jesus have a policy about digital devices with alerts and advertisements on it and ministry?
I think so. That
Right.
does track.
Yeah. So, Charles, what are the bright spots that you're seeing in your work with organizations, congregations, communities? Where are the good things happening?
I've noticed when people do come together, and that's where I'm invited, there is so much enthusiasm to spend time together. We're so burned out on screen. And I was just at an event on Friday night among educators, and it was just overwhelming how excited they were to spend the evening together in professional friendship. So whenever we create an event, we need to understand that not everybody is going to like our event or want to spend time with us, and that's fine. It's always going to be that way. We can absolutely welcome and acknowledge and embrace the enthusiasm of those of us who want to go away from our screens and very often sit in a room with other people who want that connection. The other thing that I think is true that we can get excited about is it's very easy now to invite someone over and over again because our invitations are more powerful in a world where other people are making announcements. So a phone call that says, hey, Matt, my wife and I are hosting spaghetti dinner on Friday night at my home. As you know, we want to have neighbors in the neighborhood that are friends that we know better. We'd love for you to join me. That phone call, which might take less than 30 seconds, is now going to stand out really bright for you. Because my guess is you're not going to get 10 calls this year from a neighbor inviting you for spaghetti, literally or figuratively. And all of a sudden I'm special. And you may never come on Friday nights because you're taking care of an elderly relative. That's okay. My invitation is still going to shine bright for you.
Absolutely.